There's a certain kind of silence that fills a room when someone decides they're more important than everyone else. I walked into that hotel lobby, expecting to check in, grab my key, and unwind. Instead, I walked straight into a storm, an older woman berating a teenage front desk clerk because her parking spot wasn't waiting for her. And when she turned to me for backup, she had no idea I was about to call her out in front of everyone. If you've ever had to deal with someone who thinks the world revolves around them, and you've dreamed of seeing karma strike back, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because this story, it's the kind of justice that unfolds in a single, perfect sentence. It had been a long week. I'd been driving all day, through rain that blurred the highway into streaks of gray. My back ached, my patience was thin, and all I wanted was to check into my room, collapse on the bed, and not speak to another human being until morning. The hotel was small, one of those old-fashioned roadside places where the carpet smells faintly of lemon cleaner and memories. I parked, grabbed my duffel, and walked through the automatic doors. That's when I heard it. A voice, sharp, clipped, and cutting through the air like glass. "Young man, I don't think you understand what premiere means." I stopped mid-step. At the counter stood an older woman, probably in her late 60s. Perfectly styled silver hair, designer sunglasses perched on her head, a bright red scarf that screamed expensive and angry. She was leaning across the counter, finger jabbing toward the young man behind it. He couldn't have been more than 20. Slim, nervous posture, hands clasped together like he was holding on to professionalism for dear life. "Ma'am," he said softly, "I really do apologize, but the parking lot is first come, first served. We don't have any." "Don't give me that," she snapped. "Your manager promised us prime spots for our car show. We're representing this town. You people should be grateful we even bring business here." I remember the way she said "you people," like it was an insult dressed up as disappointment. The kid's face flushed red. He tried again, voice trembling slightly. "I understand, but—" "No, you don't understand," she cut in. "I drove all the way here expecting to park in front, not next to the dumpster behind the loading dock." Her words hit the air like slaps. Guests at the lobby couches started pretending to scroll on their phones. One man behind me muttered under his breath, "Yikes!" The poor clerk kept trying to explain that parking was open and non-reservable, but every word he spoke seemed to make her angrier. She wasn't there for a solution. She was there for submission. And when she didn't get it, she turned to the nearest audience she could find. Me. The moment she looked at me, she pivoted like a queen turning to her court. "Can you believe this?" she said, gesturing dramatically toward the clerk. "We were promised those spots. I mean, surely you can see how ridiculous this is." Her tone expected agreement, the kind that assumes you'll nod just to make her feel right. I paused. For a second, I could have just mumbled something polite, avoided the conflict. But watching her berate that kid, watching his jaw tighten as he blinked back embarrassment, something in me snapped. I'd been that kid once, working a service job, swallowing my pride because the customer is always right. Except sometimes the customer isn't right. They're just cruel. So I met her eyes, calm, level, and I said, "Seems to me like you're feeling pretty entitled." Silence. It hit like a pin dropping in a cathedral. Her face froze. For a split second, you could see the disbelief that someone had actually said it. Then came the flush of crimson climbing her neck. "Excuse me," she hissed. "You heard me," I said quietly. "He's doing his job. It's just parking. Maybe treat him like a person instead of a servant." She blinked, mouth slightly open. The lobby had gone dead silent. But you could almost hear everyone thinking the same thing. Finally, someone said it. Then, without another word, she spun on her heel, muttering something about disrespectful nobodies, and stormed out through the glass doors. The sound of her heels clicking against the tile faded into the rain outside. Aftermath. For a moment, the kid behind the counter just stood there, still processing what had just happened. Then he exhaled, shoulders dropping like someone had finally taken a weight off them. Thanks," he said awkwardly. "No problem," I replied. "You handled it better than I would have at your age." He smiled, The kind of smile that comes after holding your breath too long. I checked in, got my key, and as I headed for the elevator, I glanced out the window. Outside, the same older woman was standing by a line of classic cars parked near the entrance, clearly part of the car group she'd mentioned. But here's the kicker. Someone else had taken the prime spot she'd been fighting for. Her precious club members were already there, chatting happily, cars perfectly lined up. Her space? Gone. She stood there, arms crossed, watching as someone else took the spotlight she demanded. It wasn't my doing. It was just karma, pulling neatly into the spot she thought she owned. Emotional expansion and reflection midway beat. There's something strangely universal about watching entitlement implode on itself. When someone feels so self-important that they forget empathy, it's not just rude, it's dehumanizing to the people around them. I remember my first job. I was 17, working at a grocery store. There was always someone like her, someone who thought a name tag meant beneath them. And back then, I'd smile and nod just to keep the peace. Because you're taught not to fight back. You're taught that good service means swallowing your pride. But standing there in that lobby, I realized something. Sometimes defending decency isn't rude, it's necessary. Because silence in the face of arrogance is what allows it to thrive. Turning point, adding depth and justice arc. Later that night, I went down to the lobby again to grab a bottle of water. The same front desk kid was there, still on shift. He looked up when he saw me, this time with a grin. "Hey, funny thing," he said. "That lady came back earlier. Turns out she tried to argue with the manager about those parking spots." "Oh," I asked. "Yeah." The manager told her that since she'd verbally harassed staff, her car club's discount rate was being revoked. They'd have to pay full price for all their rooms. He laughed, just a little, but it was a kind of laugh that carries relief, vindication, maybe even a touch of pride. Apparently, she'd left in a fury, vowing never to return, and honestly, no one seemed too upset about that. Climax, the sweet, satisfying justice. A few hours later, I was sitting by the window of my room, sipping bad hotel coffee, when I heard it. Engines revving outside. Loud, proud, classic cars leaving one by one under the streetlights. And at the very back of the convoy, her car. The same woman who demanded prime treatment was now stuck waiting behind the others, waving her arms at the valet, yelling about how no one knows how to organize properly. But the best part? When she tried to pull out, one of the other car owners, clearly fed up, muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. Maybe if you didn't spend so much time yelling at teenagers, you found a good spot earlier. The look on her face was pure disbelief.